Portfolio Manager at Alphinity Investment Management. Today I have Jess Cairns with me. She's our Head of ESG and Sustainability, and today we will be discussing a recently released report that we did with the CSIRO on responsible artificial intelligence. So Jess, this has been a 1-year-long project. Tell us, why did you start to do this research project?
Yeah, so we started thinking about the potential implications of AI in the context of big tech, probably close to 2.5 years ago now, and we really identified a gap in the ESG space in thinking about how best to implement responsible AI principles within our investment decision making and our stewardship activities. So we started speaking with the Data 61 team over at CSIRO as an expert to help us kind of think through what a good approach would be to managing the ESG factors in relation to AI. And then, we signed a partnership agreement with them early last year to do a research project, engage with a whole bunch of listed companies, and then develop a framework for investors.
So let's spend a bit of time on just exactly what you did and go into a bit more detail as far as the questions you asked these companies and what were some of the key outcomes of those sort of engagements you had as well.
So we engaged with 28 listed companies in the end, and they are global and Australian equities, about half-half. It also ranges from very, mega large cap businesses in the global space to some of the smaller sort of Australian companies as well. And parts of the engagement was really just to understand how they are utilising AI, what their future AI strategy looks like, what the different use cases are, and then how they were factoring in the sort of ethical implications and managing those ESG risks. Because I think the really important thing that we're striving for here is enabling companies to capitalise on the huge opportunities that are linked with AI by managing those downside issues.
By being aware of what all the key risks are. So let's say I'm an investor and I want to go and invest in one of these companies like an Nvidia or Apple or Microsoft that's sort of at the forefront of AI. How do I use this toolkit that you've created?
Yeah, so we've published a report that has a whole heap of insights from the engagements that we ran, as well as some really good leading examples and company case studies. We've also within the report outlined our 3-part framework that is also available in an Excel format that hopefully should make it really user-friendly and able to be kind of taken in-house immediately. That toolkit is open sourced as well, so we really invite investors to download that resource and pull it apart and use the pieces that they think is most useful. But essentially the framework, like I say, is 3 parts, and the parts can be used all together or individually. The first is built around use case analysis and understanding where the most material or concerning use cases are for a business. The second part is 10 key governance indicators, and then the third part is about 40 plus deep dive questions on responsible AI. So I would recommend, if I was going to start this for the first time, pick a case study, have a look at the use cases, and then use the governance indicators to have some initial conversations with management and start to tease out how we feel, how prepared companies are in addressing responsible AI.
So this is created for investors, but it's also beyond that. Who else do you think should potentially look at this framework and use it? Who else would find it useful?
Yeah, so definitely the companies. I think, from our perspective, this is very much a stretch framework. So when we think about the deep dive questions, there's not many companies, except for maybe some of those big leaders like you mentioned, like Microsoft, that would tick many of the boxes or answer many of those questions well. So I think we can use this as a way to advocate for better practice as well, and using some of the metrics and the guidance that is within the toolkit to enable companies to kind of set up these structures nice and early. And then the other sort of key point, I think, as a really good starting point, is just getting companies to think about a responsible AI policy as the very first step.
Hopefully we'll see a lot more of that happening here in Australia as well. So thank you, Jess. Fantastic piece of research by yourself and the broader team. So to visit this insight piece, please go to the insights page on our website, alphinity.com.au. Thank you.
Thank you.